All right, everybody, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins here. It is Thursday afternoon, and it's been a little while since I've seen you, so it's good to kind of see everybody out here for today. Let's start and look back. I want to look back at the heat that we saw over winter, if you will. It's not the official winter that you may know of. It's meteorological winter, which is the months of December, January, and February. So as February ended the other day, so did meteorological winter. We're now into meteorological spring, which is, of course, March, April, and May. But let's just look at February on a whole. I mean, 24 out of 28 days were above average. The average, when you take the high and the low each day and you average that number, and then you average that out for the month, it's 5.5 degrees warmer. That is warm. Third warmest February on record. So yeah, you know it was warm, but that's pretty warm. If you look at meteorological winter, including December, January, and February, we were pretty warm too. We were about the 8th warmest. If you noticed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those 8 are basically 2016 and newer, right? And then you look at the other top 8, and they're all back in the late 30s and up to the late 40s. Kind of Dust Bowl area right there. So kind of interesting as far as the heat goes. Meteorological spring started 2 days ago. What's today? The 2nd? Today is the 2nd. Sorry, yesterday. The average high is now 76 degrees in Tampa. Look what happens by the end of the month into April. The average high is 80. Mind you, we've been in the low 80s last couple weeks. I mean, I have to go back a long way and look. Generally, last couple weeks at least. But the other thing to notice here is look at the end of spring, like May 15th through the 31st. Look at that high temperature average. Ugh. Upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Great for the beach, that type of thing. But look, the beach water is already at 76 degrees. And the other thing to point out here, too, is the official rainy season date for Tampa says it begins on May 25th. Now, it's not going to exactly begin on that date, but that's on average. We start to see the conditions come together that give us more those afternoon showers and storms popping up. May 15th is for Miami, so we're getting into the rainy season there. Now, some numbers came out for basically spring, and this is going back to 1970 for the Tampa area. We're on average 4 degrees above average temperatures each day, and February was 5.5 on the average daily high and low. So we're kind of running right there, and you see how much it's warmed over that period. When you look at spring days, of those 3 months, a third of those basically are warmer than average. And so you have some cool downs, you have a lot of averages, but you got a lot of those. And you can see just for the country itself, taking those numbers I just showed you and kind of applying it to everywhere. You can see the desert Southwest is actually seeing more warming than anything else. But yeah, things continue to warm up, and because of that, we actually are seeing allergy seasons like start earlier because it's warmer. Things start springing, they start budding earlier. And allergy for us, of course, has been on the high side. February, March, and even part of April are very high for us. Trees and grasses, the next month or so, and that's what we've been dealing with through February. That's what's high out there now. Juniper, oak, nettles, kind of a little kind of shrub, if you will. It's a little sharp. It's a plant with kind of like sticky kind of sides. That could cause some issues for some folks. And of course, grasses I don't have on here, but that is flying around as well. So yeah, you thought it was warm, definitely was warm, still is warm. Now let's talk local weather. It's warm out there today. Look at these mid-80s inland, 86 in Plant City, 85 right now in Dover, Lutz, Land O'Lakes, Pasco's warm, 78 at Newport Richey. And then you've got Trinity at 80 degrees right now, 83 in St. Pete Beach. There's a look at the inland temperatures, which are just as warm. We're looking at mid-80s there as well. Sebring, 88 degrees, close to 90 degrees out there for today with southerly winds. The winds have turned south-southwest because of the sea breeze that's picking up, but you're starting to see, look at Manatee and Sarasota County, you're starting to see it kind of get a little bit breezier, right? Sustained wind in the teens, gusts in the 20s now. That's not really going down much tonight, and in fact, winds will build, especially through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a downright windy day. We usually call it breezy, but tomorrow's going to be windy with gusts in the 40s. At times. So there's the wind starting to develop back out to the west. What's happening is a low pressure system is developing over North Texas, Oklahoma, moving east and then eventually northeast. And as that deepens, as that low gets stronger, deeper, the winds around that system will increase, and that's just going to blow a ton of wind in our direction. So here's the forecast for winds for tonight. This is 8 o'clock, 10-mile-per-hour winds, gusts in the teens, not a big deal. Tomorrow morning you wake up, it's already steady in the teens, gusts in the upper teens to near 20. And then look at this tomorrow afternoon, that's around 2 o'clock. Sustained winds in the mid and upper 20s at Tampa with gusts in the 40s. Look at Gainesville seeing the same thing. Most areas will see gusts in the 30s. Those higher numbers, gusts in the 40s, will be right along the immediate coast. Now, I do need to point out, and I hate to do it, but there is we've got red tide from the mouth of the bay all the way down here, okay? If you've got wind coming in like this, it's going to blow those water parcels to the north. And right now, because it's so close down here to the mouth of the bay, I would expect that over the weekend, you're going to notice more red tide issues on the Pinellas County beaches, especially the southern beaches, which is already starting. But I think all the way up to Honeymoon, you're probably going to notice it just because that's a lot of wind for about a day and a half to 2 days out of the south. That's really going to push that water column, top water levels with the red tide in it off to the north. So, hate to say that, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. Concentrations have really flourished down here over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So there's a lot of it to be pushed around. All right, now as we get into Friday at 6 p.m., you can see that we've got winds coming down a little bit, but not a lot, right? Sustained near 20, gusting in the 30s. That's Friday evening, tomorrow evening. Overnight, Friday night and the Saturday morning, still breezy, teens with gusts in the 20s. Then during the day on Saturday, I think it still stays breezy, let's call it that. Not quite as windy as Friday will be, but you will certainly notice that we're going to have a good little breeze around. And again, it's still out of the south and the west, all right? So it's still blowing. Southerly component brings the water to the north. The westerly component brings that flow on shore and will actually blow those airborne toxins from red tide on shore. So, you could be a mile inland and notice kind of scratchy in your throat, kind of coughing. Yeah, especially down here in Manatee County. And into Sarasota as well. So keep that in mind for the upcoming weekend. Now, Sunday, wind goes away. Very light, very nice day out there Sunday as far as the winds go. Now, let's talk rain. Nothing out there right now. All right, partly cloudy skies through tonight. Will go mainly clear. Beautiful night. It's been very comfortable lately. A little bit of a similar setup for tonight. Mid 60s for lows, low 60s inland. This afternoon, 10 to 15 knots of wind. Obviously, that's going to go up and likely have small craft advisories for tomorrow. This forecast is for the rest of the day today. And look at that number, 77 degrees in the water. All right, so here's the wake-up temps for your Friday. You see the low 60s inland, upper 60s along the coast. Now, that's because of the onshore wind. This water is in the mid-70s. All right, you get a wind like this, it's blowing mid-70s onshore. That's why it's warmer here and a little bit cooler here. All right, and that trend's really not going anywhere now. I think we've got some cooler air coming here in next, say, middle of March. But for between now and then, it's going to stay warm. So mid-80s for highs tomorrow, very similar to today, except for the wind. That's what that little symbol is right there. That means high winds that you can see there. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, even 5 o'clock we'll have those. All right, so middle of the day tomorrow we'll have the highest winds. There's the setup now, and this is the system that's developing right here. Severe weather on the southeast side of this, and then this will just kind of do something like this. So the Storm Prediction Center is looking at Dallas and over towards southwestern Arkansas tonight. It could be, in fact, it probably will be a rather big breakout there. Tomorrow, it's moved the core of this a little further to the north, but it's decreasing the chances from moderate down to enhanced, especially in Tennessee and Kentucky, and really doesn't do anything for us. I mean, if you look at us by Saturday with the frontal boundary kind of stalled out here, that says you could see a thunderstorm there. I think we could, but I'm not expecting much rain at all. So here's what that looks like. This is Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. You see a couple of showers. Citrus County. I mean, Citrus County, you have the best chance of seeing anything out of any of this, but it's kind of scattered. Then as we go towards 10:30 in the morning on Saturday, here you go, a couple showers up towards Levy County. Looking fine, Bay Area, Bradenton, Sarasota. Isolated shower. I put 20% on Saturday, 30% on Sunday, and on Monday. So there's Sunday morning at 5 o'clock. I think the chance for rain Sunday afternoon is going to be inland, and well, just away from the coast. Let's put it that way. But it will be mainly in the afternoon. There could be an isolated sprinkle in the morning, but mainly in the afternoon. Here's Sunday morning, and the European model, look at that. It's got a little bit more rain. But watch as we go to the afternoon hours. It's 9 o'clock. you can see late afternoon, early evening hours, it's kind of come back in here. Let me back this up a little bit. See that kind of filling in right there? 4 o'clock Sunday, and then kind of pushes inland and south. We've got a little bit more of an easterly wind that day, and northeast wind as well. Now, Monday, you see that? Look at that. Starts dry, but an east wind, we're still warm, and an east wind's going to blow some moisture in. The model's saying there's a leftover boundary here. That looks really rainy to me. I don't think it's that rainy on Monday, but I do think it's worth going 30% chance for rain for Monday as far as that's concerned. So here's what the European model at least looks like for rain coverage. Again, I know this, it will look like you should have 30 here, but I think the best chance for rain is up here. For Tampa, it's only about 20%. Slightly better chance than 20% just because it's the center of it's down here. And then there's your Monday time frame. I'm still sticking with 30, but you can see that chance for rain's there. Tuesday, I think we stay dry, although I have to watch a few clouds. Not a big deal there. All right, when's the cold air, cool air? We're not getting cold air this time of the year, but when we get the cool air, I want to say it looks like it's a week from today, but it's probably Friday, Saturday time frame. This has been fluctuating the last couple of days. It's been getting pushed back towards days 8, 9, and 10. Okay, but there are some indications with both our global models, like the European and the GFS, that there will be some cooler air coming by the time we get towards. Well, I haven't even looked at this. By the time we get towards the middle of the month, so let's go out here. You see that trough there by the 10th? That will allow some cooler air down. This is the trough that I'm talking about. It's this dip that you see here. And let me see, there's a little bit, kind of warm, still kind of warm, and then you got to have that trough to cool us off. So 10th, 11th, 12th of the month should cool us down just a little bit. Dew points. This is one way you know what the humidity is going to be like. It's trying to show a drop off on the back end here. This is only going out 7 days. But they're not going to change too much here over the next couple of days. All right, next thing up, 7-day forecast. That's it, guys. I think for the most part, it's a warm, extended forecast. Windy is the key word for tonight and tomorrow, especially tomorrow. There'll be a little bit of fog in the morning, but not a lot. The wind tends to mix the atmosphere up and you don't get as much fog, but we will watch for a little bit of that. And then the wind's gradually coming down during the day on Saturday. Saturday will introduce a small rain chance up north. Sunday and Monday, again, I went 30%. We'll see. I'm not expecting a lot. We've been so dry, and usually when you're dry, it's, drought begets drought. It's kind of hard to get it to rain, and especially with the system which is kind of falling apart. There's not a big push of cool, dry air with the warm, moist air ahead of it making lift and making showers and storms. It's just not. We don't have those dynamics quite that much. Speaking of drought, and then I'll let you go. These numbers just were updated yesterday. These are the Florida drought numbers, and basically, you know what? These were updated today. Let me get this number for you here. I want to read those percentages because it has changed. So last week at this time, the total percent area of the state that had the yellow in it was about 51%. Now it's only about 20%, but what's happened is the moderate drought category has gone from 30% to 66%. So that means better than half of the state is under a moderate drought now. Now what happens tomorrow when you get the winds, everybody's getting wind, right? It's been really dry over on the East Coast. So right now they have a fire weather watch for this area, kind of right in here, if you will. Right in this area in here. Melbourne, Orlando, those areas. Not quite in our neck of the woods. But what this means is that if a fire gets started, it's been warm, it's been dry. We've had freezes earlier in the year, so it's killed some vegetation. So there's stuff there to burn, right? And we may even get what's called a red flag warning, which means low humidity, high winds, and a lot of fuel, a lot of dead stuff to burn, right? Vegetation. So that may be issued there. We'll have to watch our area for it. But look, you don't need to have a red flag warning or even a fire weather watch to know. Let's be careful with any kind of outdoor burning. Just not recommended over the next couple of days with this wind. Okay, because with the wind, things can get blown out of proportion very, very quickly, and wildfires can really get started. And this year, it looks like we'll it looks to be drier than what we've seen over the last couple of years, almost already drier. And I think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. So we definitely want to kind of practice all those things we're supposed to do for keeping ourselves and our property safe from wildfires. Okay, guys, that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon out there. We'll be here at 5 o'clock on 10 Tampa Bay. Don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page and my YouTube page, Bobby Deskins Weather is what you want to search there. And Natalie Ferrari's here. She'll be in at 6. And we're going to shoot. We're going to give that weekend forecast. Give you a look at it. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you have a great evening.